Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Formula Virtual Racing. We are here for the penultimate round of Season 13 in Austria, the hilltops of Styria, the shortest track on the F1 calendar in terms of lap time. I do believe Monaco is slightly shorter. I am your commentator for today. My name is Adam, not that that matters in the slightest. Obviously, standing commentator Evan is not around for today, but either way, it is not the commentator that matters. This is what we see on track, and with Austria, we certainly will see great action here. 3 DRS zones, 3 or 4 overtaking opportunities on the track, and that's just your standard overtaking opportunities. Every corner here represents an opportunity, and the opportunity in qualifying begins, and the first car out there is Adrian Taichi in the Williams, the number 98, I believe, 99 I think actually. We're right on board as he begins his outlap. The first car out on circuit, the first one I assume, so long as he doesn't invalidate, to set the benchmark time for this penultimate round, in which Avesta in the Red Bull can be crowned champion after winning the race last time out. He is able to crown himself Season 13 champion. Legend Rosenberg, the other guy in that, and as long as Avesta outscores that man in the Ferrari by 17 points, his name will go on the title. Yellow flags out there. It's a connection issue for Borbune, and the game has EA'd itself and retired Borbune from the session, so that's always fun, but we'll ignore that for now and focus on Adrian, who starts his lap, takes all the curb into turn 1. Did his best to not kind of jump over this sausage curb at turn 1, which is so easy to do. Turn 2, not a turn. Turn 3, heavy on the brakes. The upwards will help you, but still a bit too late for Adrian. That can sometimes going deep help you on the exit, though I think Adrian went a bit too deep for that to help him, using all the track at turn 4 and then using a bit more on exit, way too deep once again. There's certainly going to be time in this lap, as through 5 and 6, 7 next as well. It's a slight lift before you get back going again. Turn 8, try not to invalidate by running too wide, and then we finish with the downhill 9 and 10, fully committed. Maybe a bit of the rear getting too twitchy there for the Canadian. Try not to run wide, so easy to invalidate your lap around this track. Adrian sets the first time, it's a 106.4. We've got the Red Bull of Callum Birch to come next through the last corner as well, using all the curb on the entry and on exit, getting the rear, sliding around on the overtake, and he does beat Adrian's time by some way. Legend Rosenberg has invalidated his first time, so not the start to the session he'll be wanting, so we'll have a look at Avesta and what he can do in terms of trying to topple Legend early on in the qualifying session, using all the track on entry, and then going to get a very helpful slipstream from his teammate. Nathan Marriott slots into P2, Connor Rochford in P3, then Luke Davis setting the quickest time, marginally ahead of Callum Birch, with Dylan McClements now the car behind him in the RB. We've got Avesta, who we've been riding on board with, fully committed and almost too much, too much. He has invalidated his lap, similar to what we saw Legend do just moments before. Legend is on another lap and he's purple through Sector 2. He's got a car just ahead of him, that is a Ferrari, who will be Bas van Zijp, who's on a lap as well. Reserve, stepping in as his teammate. He'll get a slight slipstream to end his lap, which ends over half a second quicker than the next car. Leroy Van Schendel is also on a lap. in Sector 2. That very, very vibrant green kick Sauber making its way through. The last two corners, we'll see where he can finish his lap. Where in the top 10 he'll place himself. Van Schendel goes P5. So slotting himself between Nathan Marriott and Dylan McClements. Quite a big gap there between those P4 and downwards. Big lockup from Matthew Stutz. The sole remaining Haas now in the quali session after Bob Youn was rather booted out by the game. Missing the apex slightly there for turn 7, turn 8. Then the slight kink to the right. It did say he was purple through sector 2. We'll see how true that is when he comes to the line. If he doesn't invalidate, which he doesn't, fully committed for the last two turns as you need to be, slots himself in between that gap of McClements and Van Schendel, P5, and well, a bit of no man's land in terms of lap time as well. Just a bit under 9/10 from Legends' almighty time. Can Kandolga get anywhere near that? The yellow flag in sector 3, just the kick, Sauber going slowly. And there will be another yellow flag now. Dolga, as we saw, spinning his car into the gravel, collecting it and then getting out the way of Avesta, who starts an outlap. This time, seeing if he can actually put a lap time on the timesheets. Oh, getting the rear kicked out through the last turn to start his lap. Not the best start, but either way, his lap time is on the way and he's got plenty of time to run this one and then go for another couple of attempts. Legend still in the pits with his 103.6, sitting him comfortably at the top, but Avesta is the man who can respond to that. His first sector was decent. Legend's now out the pits, as Avesta had a bit of a twitchy moment coming out of turn 3. Very hot on the power. Under the Pirelli boards, the braking starts there, slight lock up, but using all the curb on entry. And then almost staying as flat out as you possibly can through turn 6, 7 and then 8. All completed for Avesta. He's got 2 more to go, and then we can see the type of lap times the Ukrainian top of the standings is setting at Austria. And he's almost invalidated the last corner. It's clean though. Avesta to the line is only P6. 9/10 behind what Legend was able to do. Now what do you make of that? Has he got the pace of Legend at this one? Now Legend has started a lap, but we're on board with Luke Davis. Can he put his name in the mix for a win at this circuit? Starting from pole position isn't a necessary must at a track like the Red Bull Ring, but you know, at every circuit it's always a helpful feature. Luke Davis got 2 more turns to go. His teammate ahead of him, but P10 currently on the grids. Through the last corner, turning too early, that's an invalidation. Legend's lap is clean. And we'll see if he can improve that beast of a time, already putting him top of the timing sheets. He's up very slightly. And then a little bit too much on the power. Got the rear out, and that's not going to be an improvement. He's diving into the pit lane. Gotta make sure he doesn't block Nathan Marriott, but he's also coming into the pit lane anyway. So no worries there. Adrian Taichi has invalidated. Yes, Leroy Van Schendel will watch then. Currently sitting P9. We saw his lap earlier that did put him there. Well, in fact, it put him about P5 I think at the time, but several drivers going quicker has knocked him down a few pegs, as locking up into turn 4 and then getting the rear kicked out. I don't think we're going to see an improvement here from the man in the Sauber. Got a few more out on out laps. Bas van Zijp and Khan Dolga, as that is Dylan McClements going through to set a lap that's 4 tenths up on what he's currently done. This will put him in a comfortable P2 position, with the majority of the field currently in the pit lane. McClements coming through the last 2 corners with that Max Verstappen helmet and a V-carb is an interesting combo. Definitely works for the colours. But the more important stuff, McClements does put himself in P2. We'll see if there is any response from the 2 starting their lap, Bas van Zijp and Khan Dolga in the Ferrari and Mercedes. Dolga coming through the last 2 corners to start his lap. Van Zijp is in sector 2, and already you can see the ERS does not last on 12% before the braking zone of turn 4. But that is just something you're going to have to manage throughout quali and even more so in the race. ERS is going to be a great asset if the majority of the field cannot handle cannot recharge it, sorry, that's what I should say, is that Van Zijp through the last corner. Can he put himself into the top 10? Not quite. P11 is the highest he's able to get to. Khan Dolga has invalidated his time. Callum Birch has just started a lap. See where this one can take him. He's picked up a little bit of a slipstream off Van Zijp. Birch has Matthew Stotts just ahead of him as well. Both of these guys on a lap. Both of these guys see if they can break or bridge the gap to Legend and potentially claim that P2 off of McClements. So, Sector 3 begins now for the man in the Red Bull, and very quick reactions to save that one. Matthew Stotts goes ahead of Birch, and Birch has to pull off an incredible save to not have his car throttled into a wall, and he also manages to get into the pit lane as well, as Rochford goes ahead of Gavadi, Avesta, who is on his lap now, coming through the last few corners. Will his lap time get him any closer to Legend? We'll see now. His 3rd attempt puts him pole position with a 103.4 into the .4s now. And now it's over to you, Legend. What can you do? He's just starting his lap now. Or has he ended his lap? I think he just ended his lap, actually. My apologies there. I've missed his lap. But he is just behind what Avesta has done by just under a tenth. 0.067 separating the 2 championship protagonists. And then there's a big 4-tenth gap to the next man who's currently sitting in the pit lane, Dylan McClements in the RB. Got Luke Davies on the lap, 2 and a bit tenths up through the last corner. He comes to the line and he sets a 103.8. He pushes himself up to 3rd position. And I believe Matthew Stotts is on another lap, but a bit of a moment through turn 3 might halt that one. Then we'll have a look at what he is doing when he comes across the sector 2 time. He is still marginally up, so it's not completely over for the Haas. But it is now as he enters the pit lane to end his run. And that way he will get another chance towards the end. So currently out there, McClements, Van Schendel and Adrian Taichi, who's on a lap just now. But I think he's coming in to sacrifice this one to go again at the end. So we'll turn our attention back to McClements, P4. He's got to avoid anyone who's going to come out the pit lane just ahead of him as well. Kind of the danger of running out of sync at the end of the session. But he'll get away clean. He's got almost the whole sector to himself. In fact, he does. With 2.5 minutes to go across the sector 1, timing being McClements is slightly down and ghosting for some reason, but we're back on track and see if he can take back his front row position, which he had before. He's going to have to improve by quite a way, and a slide out of turn 4 isn't going to help that. Davies is just about half a tenth ahead of him if he can improve by that much, but he's backed off the lap. He's going to go again at the very end. And Schendel was on a lap as well. He's up on his time. See what the Dutchman can do. Number 5, Kick Sauber. So far 16 points this season, but that one's invalidated at the very end until... Be a bit lucky to not have that invalidated both times. I think it has. He's going slowly. Bas van Zijp was also on a lap time, and he's going quick. Outlaps now for basically everyone. Adrian Teich's not going to get another lap. He's still in the pit lane, so everyone bar Adrian and possibly Van Schendel now will set a lap time and have the opportunity to go that bit quicker. Bas van Zijp, his teammates trying to fight for the championship. He's invalidated to the last corner, so that will be as good as he can get. Speaking of his teammate Legend, he's coming out of turn 3. He's got to avoid McClements. He's doing his best not to give him a slipstream. Lock up into turn 4, not the best way to go around there. Vesta coming through the last corners to start his lap. So we have the ability to watch his lap after Legends is done. He's a 10th up, so as things stand, Rosenberg will take back that pole position under the Pirelli board towards the last 2 corners. 50-metre board, you're turning sharply. The car didn't want to react well, and it hasn't at the last corner either. Spin for Legend Rosenberg. His quali is done, and Avesta, barring any miracles from someone else in the field, will be on pole position. There's a few yet to cross that timing line, and we have 8 seconds left on the session. Can Avesta gap Rosenberg at the end of this session? The checkered flag is now out. I have Nathan Marriott to take that line, but he hasn't improved. Callum Birch will be the next, just before Avesta Gabadi. Birch is crossing the line now, and he gets himself 5th, so he's on the 3rd row. Avesta, no improvement from him. So maybe slightly lucky by a Legend's spin. Matthew Stott's very committed to the end, as I think that might just be everyone. Taichi is off the track, and neither Van Schendel or Discern are on a lap, and we saw Rosenberg had spun, so that is your order. Avesta Gavadi on pole position, Legend Rosenberg in P2, Luke Davies and Dylan McClements lining up on the 2nd row. Callum Birch in P5, Connor Rochford in P6, Matthew Stott 7th, Nathan Marriott 8th, Leroy Van Schendel in P9 with Pierrick Discern in P10, Khan Dolga in 11th, Bas van Zijp 12th, Adrian Teichey 13th, and Borbune in P14, unable to set a lap time after a disconnect at the very start of the session. So, of course, as if it was read in the script for the penultimate race, we will have the 2 championship protagonists lining alongside each other on the front row. front row, which has a combined 10 podiums so far this season. And we will see who will lead out of turn 1. A corner at Austria, which is quite dangerous to be fair. Very tight turn 1, often leads to a few cars getting spun on the inside. And those on the outside prone to a dive bomb from someone feeling a bit adventurous. There it is though, Avesta and Legend separated by less than a tenth at the front. A good track for Legend this. He holds the record for the most wins, poles, podiums as well. He'll certainly be hoping he can take yet another win to just marginalise the gap between himself and his championship rival, which currently sits at 6 points. Of course, elsewhere, Ferrari can also become champions of the Constructors' Championship today. Just need to outscore Red Bull and Alpine by 19 and 13 points respectively, so just another thing to keep your eye out for this one. I'm not entirely sure if we're going to get a formation lap. I know this game can react quite poorly to having a formation lap at times, so we will see when we get going. No formation lap. We're getting ready to go. Legend on the right. And I think actually we're restarting. Okay, yep. I remember my lobbies. You gotta restart the whole lobby just to get a race going. I'll save you from a rant about EA. Oh, what a crash! I think that's going to end in a race ban from the Haas there. Legend couldn't take advantage. Callum Birch is going to be our race winner. No, he's not, because he's binned it at the end. Legend wins. There's a car in the air. What a race. So yeah, hopefully the lobby will be sorted fairly quickly as it can be. Damn, Legend even won with a 10-second penalty. 37 seconds he completed that race in. And maybe that will be a well, hopefully not a taste of what's to come in terms of the start. But yeah, hopefully the grid can be all set up and we can get underway very quickly. We don't need to invite anyone extra, so just get the grid done. Although I know firsthand this game likes to spin surprises on you at any moment, so And I suppose whilst we're waiting, why not, let's read in some stats about the track, because who doesn't love some fun stats. Austria is the 11th edition of Austria in FVR. Last race 4 months ago, Legend was crowned champion here last season, season 12. Can't do that this time around, but you know, he can certainly put himself back as the title favourite heading into the last round. Red Bull was also crowned champions at this track last time as well, and the same case with Legend. They can't quite do that this time around, but they can certainly put themselves back as the favourites if Callum Birch and Avesta were able to put in a hell of a weekend in comparison to the Ferraris. Most successful teams have gone here very well in the past. Joint most wins at 2, the most pole positions at 3. Obviously Matthew Stotts and Bob Young were unable to take the pole, but the win is up for grabs still. We'll see how that one can go. Bob Young, starting from last, would certainly have to put in a mega effort, but it will be one for the history books, I'm sure. And yes, as I say, the 11th edition of Spielberg in Formula Virtual Racing. It's rather a staple of F1 League racing. Reliable track, good to watch, fun to drive, all round good track. And it's not a street track. Isn't that fun? Who's excited for Madrid, guys? It would be nice just to have a new track on the game. But we're readying up, looking like we are about to get set for the race start. Well done on the admins for sorting the grid quickly, not making us delay. And the wait will soon be over to see who will get the jump between Legend in the Ferrari and Avesta in the Red Bull. Just allowing everyone to finalise their setups. I mean, the crowd in the background seem very up for it. I mean, nothing's even happened yet, and they're waving their fists around, giving it a good round of applause. They are silent though, so I'll give them that. They do well in a golf crowd. And we are getting ready now. Legend on the left, Avesta on the right. And we're lights out, we're away we go at Austria. And getting the better start is Avesta, he's cleanly out front. Davies and McClements side by side into turn 1, and McClements is the one who wins out there, but there's a big gap between the top 2 and the rest already emerging. They're too wide in the background as Legend sees if he can try and make a move on Avesta early. Not quite though, there's contact between the top 2. They're both still facing the right way, but Legend got too close to the rear of Avesta and almost spun himself. Luke has managed to get back P3 ahead of McClements, who's defending all over the road ahead of Callum Birch, that is, in the second Red Bull. Round the outside goes Matthew Stotts, and he's pulled that one off. Up to P4, albeit briefly, because McClements is coming back. He's going round the outside and completes that one as well. We're seeing a handful of outside moves between the top 5 so far. At the back, I think everyone has kept it fairly clean. No one facing in the wrong direction, so that's always good to see. Medium to hards is the strategy here. We'll see if anyone's opted for the soft tyre, albeit they will then be going for the 2-stop. Soft tyre, no, it's medium for the whole entire grid. DRS enabled, and now we'll play into the hands of Legend. This time a whole lot closer to Avesta. He pulls out early this time because he doesn't want to hit into the back of Avesta again. Avesta locking up, and Legend now will have the opportunity to DRS past him, and we'll see the first overtake for the lead. Or will we? Legend closing the DRS and playing a bit of tactics here. Doesn't want to fight Avesta early. So we're going to see a bit of tactics between those at the front. Already McClements pulling a gap to Matthew Stotts in 5th. He's got Connor Rochford on the back of him. Matthew Stotts had a brilliant start, but has already faded away from the DRS of those in front, and he's holding up a train now to the rest of the field. As again we see Legend just pulling away from the dirty air of Avesta and even the slipstream. He doesn't want to make that move. Luke Davies has now got McClements all over the back of him, but into turn 1 there is no move from McClements on the McLaren. And further back there's no moves either. Everyone keeping it very clean, very sensible so far. Although there is a side-by-side bit of action, none from Legend, but there is between Rochford and Spinner and Matthew Stotts. And Rochford is ahead. Callum Birch also getting past, I think that was Nathan Marriott. Or being passed by Van Schendel possibly. Again, Legend making no attempt to get past Avesta. So this is the game plan for sure. 3 laps in, we've already seen it, although Avesta saving all his ERS, really backing Legend up. He almost had nowhere to go, and Davies almost into the back of an ever slowing Rosenberg as well. They're very close to the top 4, and already Connor Rochford is beginning to get into that DRS advantage off the top 4 as they slow each other down. Off in the background, I think that was Matthew Stotts. It is indeed. He's got a bit of wing damage and he's going to pull into the pit lane, which is why he was waiting for the field to go by. Top 4 remaining in place. We see Matthew Stotts losing 7 positions after that little off, and Schendel in the background making moves. No move from Rosenberg. There might be one from Davies. He put his nose at the inside. There was contact. A bit of damage flying in the air. I don't know how significant. No end plates missing for either driver. But they got a bit too close for comfort between those guys at the front, and we might see more of that. Callum Birch in the background. That's not a very good camera angle off it. But he is making a move on Van Schendel. And eventually it gets that one done. Rochford losing a couple of positions there. He's now down 1 from where he started. Up 3 is Van Schendel, up 3 for Bune as well. But lap 4 completed, and Avesta Gavadi will lead this one as well. Not that Legend can't do anything about it, but he doesn't want to as things stand, and you can see why. His game plan has been set, albeit Luke Davies almost scribbled over it when they had a bit of contact. Legend again moving out of the way, and no move once again. He's certainly teasing us as viewers as to when he's going to make it. Leroy Van Schendel does make it past Callum Birch, and Connor Rochford wants it in on this as well. He's getting the slipstream from the Sauber ahead, and eventually just pulls away from making any move, and in doing so Nathan Marriott then takes that as an invitation to take P7, and he's going for a bit more as well. He's having a look around the outside of Birch, just getting shoveled by the camber off the circuit, and then that will leave the door open for Connor Rochford to get back through. This is proper racing. Nathan Marriott isn't going to risk anything into turn 9. Connor Rochford holds on to 7th, and as you were, just a lap ago. Except Van Schendel is that position higher, and Callum Birch, McClements as well, isn't making any moves on Luke Davies. He's happy to stay behind as well. These guys properly saving ERS. This time will we see any sort of move from Legend on Avesta. He's pulling out again, as is Davies. But as we get into turn 3, they're side by side. Legend's going for it this time. He's done it. Avesta holding him up too much. And eventually, on lap 6, he's decided now is the time to go. Davies is making this difficult as well for the 2. He's not backing out of any move. Round the outside of Avesta. That's late on the brakes. Is it too late? Oh, they're nearly 4 wide at one point there. Legend is the man in the lead. And Avesta's going to hold on to P2. But Luke Davies trying to make it difficult for the 2 who don't want to risk anything. McClements holding onto the car sits in P4, watching this go down. And in the background, in the midfield, we saw even more moves. As Connor Rochford, Callum Birch swapping positions. Adrian Taichi's lost a few and a few seconds as well. Bob Bune behind him as well, with Pierrick as at the back. And Bob Bune and Adrian swapping positions now. Will we see any swapping positions between those at the front? For the first time, we saw it last lap. And Luke Davies rather encouraging more from these guys. But again, nothing doing into turn 3. See, Connor Rochford has got ahead of Van Schendel. Will we see more from those guys? Yes, Van Schendel getting back past Rochford, and Birch late on the brakes is looking to cause something. But he's having to stay in P7 at the front. Was there more contact? Yes! Luke Davies is around. I think it was contact with Avesta, and he's gone for a spin, and we've seen the first from the top 3 fall, and those behind are now within DRS range. Davies was the one who was encouraging moves from the rest of them, and eventually he's the one who has been shuffled down to the back of the field. Recovering before Bob Bune and his group were able to get ahead. Taichi now dropping to last, is being passed by Pierrick Desain, as Van Schendel loses a couple of positions in the DRS zone, and going to the inside of Vesta is actually going to make this move. Yes, he is. Although Legend's going to easily get by when it comes to the traction, and McClements now from the heli shot is going to back out of this one. Avesta is going to go for this one down the inside, lock up. The 2 keep it clean, and Legend again will keep ahead. Callum Birch is right in this as well now, and down the inside McClements I think is going to go for it. Apologies for my controller disconnecting. Just make sure that's on charge. And McClements was not able to get that move. Callum Birch is staying in P4, but right in this battle now, it's gone from a top 4 to a top 10. And that's what we like to see. Legend from Avesta, McClements P3, Callum Birch pressuring those in the top 3, Rochford in P5, Marriott P6, Van Schendel's been shuffled down to 7th, Dolger in 8th, Davies in 9th, and Van Zijp in the final points paying position just had a bit of a mistake in the background as well. They're side by side at the front. Although they're 3 wide, McClements diving it to the inside. There's contact between Birch and Rochford as they all crescendoed in at turn 3. And who's going to be the gainer out of this? Avesta to the inside is going to get the position. McClements has had enough. He's diving it again. This time on Rosenberg, and no position gain for him. And down the inside, Callum Birch. Can he make this stick? Not quite. Although he's still there on the inside. This one's going to keep going down through turns 7 and 8. Callum Birch, I think, is going to get this done. Is McClements going to back up? No, he's going for it. He's got the run down the inside. This time he has done it. P3 for McClements on lap 9. But as we head on to lap 10, we are starting to see some proper racing from those in the field. Legend and Avesta are going to have to keep it a bit careful if they're going to continue to hold each other up and not go for it and save their ERS, because McClements is getting tired and McClements is getting dived by Callum Birch, who wants more than just a P4. And there's proper contact, wheel banging there. McClements is keep it in the right direction. Rochford is in on this as well. He's going to be watching these two fight it. Down the outside went McClements. More contact between those two, and it's put Rochford in the wall. Wing damage for the Alpine as well. Shame, because he was running a good race. Yeah, McClements had a slight twitch coming out of that corner, and when he goes to save it, has helped Rochford into a wall. So that's the second incident we have seen so far. In fact, the one involving Matthew Stotts earlier has resulted in him retiring in the pit lane. But this battle between Birch and McClements is far from over. McClements properly ragging that car through turn 1. He's going to go for it again. You got Van Schendel in 5th, Marriott in 7th, so 6th, and Davies has recovered up to P7. He's past Dolger as well now. And Rochford is in the pit lane fixing that front wing. Rosenberg got past Gabadi, but for how long? Because down the inside, Ukrainian steals that move and almost helping his teammate Birch make a move past past Legend as well. The Vesta from Legend, from Callum Birch, Clarence Leroy, Marriott Davies, Dolga, Van Zyp and Bob Yoon. I will try to fix the audio in just a second. We'll just get past the next few straights. Make sure we don't miss anything controversial going down, as Legend is going to pull to the inside of Avesta. And Callum Birch is going to keep himself in there as well, and his teammate Callum Birch isn't hanging around. He wants as much as he can get out of this one. He hasn't stood on the podium so far this season. And he wants more than just that, though. He almost had contact with Avesta, and that's going to force him into the back of Legend. Front wing damage for the second Red Bull in this race, and McClements goes through to P3. Red Bull suffering issues on lap 12. Callum Birch into the back of his teammate and then almost into the back of McClements. He properly risked one there. Davies was got past Marriott as well on this lap, and Legend is the man who's going to lead the way through turn 12. I will try to fix the audio. I don't know how bad it is, but I will do my best. And see how that is. If not, I'm not too sure what else I can do, but as you go, flag in sector 3, Adrian Taichi with the spin there. Has struggled a bit so far. To the inside, 3 wide, McClements down the inside, off the other two. And McClements is the leader. But for how long is Legend in P2? Will he go for it? No DRS for him. DRS for Avesta. He's going to go to the inside. There's going to be more contact. Avesta sent to a half spin. Legend avoids it. Van Schendel's had incident as well. And somehow everyone has got out of it okay. Avesta nearly sent for a spin to the back of the field. It only seems like a matter of when it will go wrong for another car, because this racing is so close. Van Schendel had an incident as well. I saw him ghosted. Marriott is just behind him in P6. There's a battle between Pierrick and Bas Van Zyp as well for the last points paying position. They both falling behind Bob Yoon, who's 4 seconds off of this big gaggle of cars, who's offering us all the entertainment so far. McClements led a lap ahead of the two championship protagonists, but they don't want that for much longer. Avesta's going to the inside. Legend's trying to follow him through. There's more late braking in the back. Callum Birch is still going with the front wing damage. And the helicopter shot is exactly what we need at the minute. As we see Avesta defending from McClements, late on the brakes, went Van Schendel to the inside. McClements around the outside, keeps it going, in the lead. Avesta in second, can't get past that RB. Down the inside, Van Schendel is getting sent by Marriott, who's going to get past him. Although they're still going side by side. And side by side, Legend and Avesta. Dylan McClements has got a penalty. And down the inside again, I thought I saw Marriott going to send one. In fact, he's going to the inside, going to the pit lane. That's why he took the inside line. McClements with a penalty. You often see them at Austria. It's actually a surprise it took us 15 laps to get one, but it came for the race leader. A big mistake for McClements, who has himself 2 podiums and a win so far this season. Looking to double that total, but that's going to cost him. And Avesta again sending it to the inside at turn 3. A Legend is going to go side by side, but again not using that DRS, and Avesta push him towards the grass. And then Birch is going to go for the dive. Legend getting not very nicely treated by either Red Bull on that straight. I suppose that's what happens when you are the championship rival in both aspects, drivers and teams. So in the background, out the pit lane, came Nathan Marriott. We'll just see what tyre he's onto. He's onto the hard, so he's gone early on the strat. And the pit lane as well, Kandolga, Basran Zipe as well. Discern and Bobune have also already pitted for strategy. So we'll see how this plays out as the guys at the back choosing to pit early. And going to the inside once again, number 13, Avesta. Pushing McClements wide this time. Rochford the next to pick up a 3-second time penalty. McClements is still going to hang it there, and he's going to get the DRS because Avesta passed too early. McClements coming back through. And back into the lead of the race. Birch sending it again. Stopped it just in time. Legend had to take a bit of an avoiding action. It stays as it was though. P3 for him, P4 for Birch. And Leroy Van Schendel in P5. Birch with the wing damage. I guess with the amount of straights here is managing to keep it going. And then Luke Davies in P6. In the DRS train as things stand, it's McLaren and Davies who are coming in this lap, and Legend not. I was going to say that would be a very late call, possibly one the stewards would take a look at, but no, he just took a very, very tight inside line. And again, no pass for Legend. Turn 1 isn't the place to do it if you don't want to lose time or possibly a front wing. But going alongside the car with no DRS and into the lead rather easily. Legend Rosenberg is back at the front. And Bobune the next with a time penalty. They're starting to rack up now for some. Late on the brakes, Van Schendel straight into the wall. I don't think he really let off any brake, and that is a safety car, which is going to benefit those who haven't pit. I don't really know what happened there, and I think the stewards might take a look at that one. But brake failure, some could say. So rather predictably and sensibly, those leaders are coming into the pit lane. Callum Birch is going to have to double stack here and get that opportunity to fix his front wing, which he will do. So Legend and Avesta will keep the race lead. This hasn't worked out for Nathan Marriott in any way. Well, it has and it hasn't, but without the safety car, he was about to take the lead of the race. Instead, he'll come out in P3. Callum Birch with that front wing change will come out and around P9, I suspect. No, because Bobune has pit, so P8 for him. And a 9th to 12th coming into the pit lane as well. So the order after this, after the pit lane, the order after the pit stops under safety car. is Legend Avesta, Nathan Marriott in P3. One-time race winner at Monza, the only other race I have commentated on. Luke Davies in 4th, McClimate's 5th. Dolga is in P6. Then you have Discern in P7, Birch P8, Babune in 9th, Bash Van Zype in 10th, Rochford 11th, and Adrian Taichi in P12. Your 2 retirements for Schendel, the course of the safety car. And the first one out was Matthew Stotts very early on into the pit lane after a mistake, and he was out just like that. The safety car will bunch everyone back up. Everyone, I assume, is on hard tyres, so again we go on the same tyres. Nope. Babune, Bass Van Zype and Rochford all choose to be different and are back onto a set of mediums. So they'll have a short advantage. They'll get to the end for sure. How long they'll hold up compared to the hards though is questionable. I know the mediums aren't the best after a 10, 11 or 12 lap stint. But the safety car gives the opportunity for the drivers just to rethink strategy, for them to rest, for the commentator to rest, because it has been all action so far. And soon enough the whole field is here. I'm sure we'll get back to green flag action, and well, we'll get going once again, and we'll see when Legend and Avesta actually choose to race each other. Off the track, Avesta. He isn't allowed to retake his positions. So down a position, Avesta to Nathan Marriott. What a mistake to make. Oh, he's done it again. Into the wall. With the 10-second time penalty for McClements as well. And Avesta has lost parts of his front wing. He's lucky to still be in the race. He hit the wall quite hard. What a mistake to make from the championship leader. And all this means is Legend Rosenberg, he didn't get the best restart, but he's still in the lead, and he's going to take a big advantage out of this one as things stand. Gavadi isn't last, but he's out of the points. Nathan Marriott, without the DRS, is going to go to the inside, and I said it wasn't the best restart from Rosenberg. He's already under pressure twice now from Marriott. Davies is back up to P3, where he started this one. And in fact, he's looking to do better. Marriott, who went for the original move, is now getting sent by Davies, who goes to the inside. Slight contact between the McLaren and the Aston Martin, and Davies is up to P2. Rosenberg in P1 still, survived the late pressure put on him by Marriott in the Aston Martin. McClements now with a 13-second time penalty, 3 for Adrian there as well. But he's the man in P4, is McClements. Condolgan P5. And Cern up to P6 as well. DRS enabled. And we'll see if Davies continues his more aggressive driving compared to Legend. Avesta into the pit lane has sped as well. So not only has he had to pit an extra time, change his front wing, he's back onto the mediums. Oh, he's on softs actually. Interesting. And a 10-second time penalty. Not the way Avesta would have wanted this one to go. Having started that safety car restart in P2, McClements has passed Marriott as well. So the good early signs from Marriott on the restart has quickly faded down to a P4. And so we start to spread out a bit at the front, a second separating those guys between themselves in the top 3. Dolga in 5th, is pressuring Marriott, who hasn't dropped away from McClements by any means, but a lock-up at the final corner is not going to help him. Has lost him a couple of tenths. Legend with the fastest lap of the race. Extra point up for grabs there. He'll currently be on 23. It's DRS for everyone in the field up to Rochford. And then Rochford himself has Birch, Bobbune and Bas van Zijp on the back of him. But 1 to Roux, 4 of Esther. Safety car restart in P2. And spinning it not once but twice. He got away lucky the first time, only losing the one position, but then into the wall. Losing his front wing and then speeding into the pit lane. It went from bad to worse for Vesta, who was in a strong position after the safety car very helpfully came out for him at the right time. But Legend not running away with this one yet. Davies has reeled him back in. And he's got McClements as well. Two drivers who have looked very racy today. The direct opposite to what Legend has done so far. Two very different tactics, and we'll see which one works out at the end. Nathan Marriott being slightly dropped by McClements here, but he's still got DRS, so don't count him out of the battle for the lead just yet. Condolga's just behind him. There's Avesta now setting the fastest lap on those soft compounds, beating what a Legend did by 3/10. Birch making 2 moves there with his new front wing. They're 3 wide in fact. You see how this one ends. Medium tyres on Rochford hasn't paid any benefit there. Going around the outside, the McLaren not quite able to pull the move completely off, and then losing out to Rochford again. So as you were after turn 4 there, Birch and Rochford from Discern. And at the front, no moves being made just yet. Yellow flag is Adrian Taichi in sector 3. We've seen him struggling at that corner a few times today in this race. But still going is the important factor. And the penalties, as I said, beginning to rack up for a few now, especially those at the back. 10 for Vesta, 3 for a gaggle from 7th to 11, and then McClements has 13. Whether or not he can get 10 of those removed is one for the stewards to see. We didn't quite see it on camera, so we'll have to see how that one ends. But it's as you were in the top 3. Luke Davies unable to make any moves on the current race leader, Legend Rosenberg. And I think McClements with his penalty is happy to just kind of ease away from the rest of the field. Condolga has now been dropped by the top 3 and 4. Nathan Marriott is doing well to keep within 7/10 of the rest here. But Luke Davies not using his DRS, but the DRS is there for him, but he's also now slightly holding a conservative position in this race. Rochford isn't though. Big lock up and a move being made on Callum Birch, those medium tyres, allowing him to be a bit more racy as he defends the outside. I don't think he's defending actually. He's going to let Birch back through, saving some ERS, which he's only got 20% off. And bit of a moment for Bobbune to collect in the background. He's currently sitting in P9. In fact, I have just missed a move for the lead. Luke Davies is in first place, ahead of Legend Rosenberg. Apologies for that one. But yet another move into turn 4. Fairly easy one, I suspect, and I think we might see the same again. Legend on Luke when the two kind of conserve ERS on each other. Or will we see it just the corner before? Turns 2 and 3, Legend pulling out to go to the inside, braking rather early, going to keep his nose up the inside, and then we'll get a bit of DRS to help him along at turn 4. I don't think we're going to see a move this time. Just feel the mirrors a bit. Be careful not to go into the back of Luke and split your braking zone. There's a gaggle of 4 at the front, which we've seen from the majority of this race so far. So there's Marriott who is there instead of Gabadi. Although a slight mistake there from Marriott has left him a few tenths shy of the others this lap. Callum Birch with the next penalty. So we're slowly working our way up with the penalties. That's now the bottom 6 or 7. Just Marriott, Dolga, Luke and Legend who haven't. Speaking of those two, Luke and Legend swapping positions. Hello Zalba, you alright? No response from Luke heading into turn 4. But what he has got now is McClements with his many penalties on the back of him. Don't worry, Zalby, you've still got Callum Birch in this one. And of course it's Austria and it's league racing. I'm sure a safety car or 2 will pop themselves up. Even if we've only got about 8 laps to go. Still much can happen. And with only about 8 laps to go, when will we see the racing start to intensify at the front? When will we see the risk start to be paid? My guess would be the last 2 or 3, but it's really down to whenever the man in 2nd or 3rd chooses to get aggressive, and that's when the leader will have to respond. But when that happens, that is when Pandora's box is opened. But as things stand, it's going swimmingly for Legend Rosenberg in the championship picture. He came into this one 6 points down on Avesta, and as things stand, he's going to walk away from it without the fastest lap, but he's going to be 16 points better than Avesta, which is quite the championship swing. Of course, Avesta will be hoping for a safety car to recover his race at the minute. As we see from McClements' view, Davies just kind of brushing himself into the clean air. Avesta with yet another 10-second time penalty for speeding in. Is that going to be the end of his race? Don't think so. Just getting rid of the soft tyre, which can do no more. Of course, he'll get a point actually for the fastest lap, so the gap will be 15 instead of 16. That is the important factor as to why he keeps going onto the soft tyre. He's got to be careful not to get lapped here, because if he gets lapped, his only hope from a safety car would be vanished as well. McClements is beginning to go for a move here on Davies. He had the room to late brake and he's got it done. So a change of position within the top 4. McClements on Davies. Is he the one choosing to go aggressive now? Is this where we start to see the trigger point? And where we start to see those top 4 get a bit nasty to each other with 6 laps left to run. His gap to Legend 5 tenths, so if if he really wanted to, he could pressure Legend, but in doing so he would use quite a fair bit of his DRS, ERS, which he has been saving since the restart. Of course, he has the unholy amount of penalties as well to come his way. Unless he can get them removed, he might have to start going aggressive if he wants to get a significant result out of this one. But no move on Legend made this time around. We'll see at turn 4 if anything will be done. Condolga is knocking on the door of Callum Birch for P5. Rochford is on the back of Discern as well. But no moves through the field at turn 4 by the looks of things. Big lockup for Discern, which feels the face of Rochford. Those medium tyres maybe starting to go away for him. I think Borbune was another one on them. Bas van Zijp was the other to opt for the mediums in their 9th, 10th and 11th. So I think the long-term strategy of those hasn't paid off, and the short-term wasn't worth the risk. Lap 32, we have 5 left to run. And McClements makes no move on Rosenberg this time either. However, turn 4 is fast approaching. The DRS is active on McClements and he's looking at the inside. He used a bit of overtake as well. He doesn't fully want to risk everything. Legend Rosenberg giving the space because he doesn't want to be hit out of the race lead from such an advantageous position. Luke Davies has had an incident at the back there. He's found his way into the gravel somehow, which we didn't see from the onboard view of Dylan McClements. But Luke Davies fools his way out of P3, handing that over to Nathan Marriott. He's also out of DRS. We'll see how quickly he can recover that one, because it's only 1.3. That is doable, and he's beginning to gain already. These leaders not fully pushing to their maximum pace. But the first dominoes are beginning to fall. McClements got past Davies a few laps prior. Davies then with a mistake. Marriott has by far the least amount of ERS. He has been pushing to keep up with the leaders. There's Dolga and Birch swapping positions. Any contact between the two? There is none, and Birch is going to get that position done with the DRS to confirm it. McClements on the back of Legend. Again, no move. And we're going to tick lap 33 off with Legend leading this one as well. Legend leading, Avesta in last. And the championship picture before this race is going to fully swing the other way. Like I say, I think Legend is going to have a 15-point advantage come the end of this one, which is going to be a very, very hard way for Avesta to claw back at the final round in Abu Dhabi. Something being kicked up there by McClements. Marriott is fully going to go for this one, and then he backed out of that one. I think he kind of saw maybe a steward's room appearing in the back of his mind, going for 2 cars in turn 1, but he's going to make it 3 wide going into turn 3. We're starting to see the leaders properly push. Rosenberg being pushed down to P3, but he's going to fight this one with Marriott. He's not going to give it up. Marriott has the DRS, so does Rosenberg, and he finally enables it. And he's going to hold on to P2. McClements is the man in the race lead, but Rosenberg knows McClements has that penalty. Of course, he can't rely on it. The stewards could step in and remove that for McClements. But as things stand, Legend Rosenberg will be the man to win the race in this position. Luke Davies is back. He's back on the coattails of Marriott and within this DRS train. And the field beyond this pack beginning to split apart, though there is a battle between Discern and Rochford still boiling over between those two for 7th place. But the penultimate lap we are now on. Bas van Zijt with another penalty, and Legend Rosenberg isn't going to risk anything into turn 3. Will we see it at turn 4? I think at this point he's happy to stay in the DRS of McClements and assume he'll get that penalty removed. Of course he could go for it on the last lap. He'll have the DRS advantage. No ERS used again. He's not risking losing any bit of charge. And I think Nathan Marriott has given everything he can on that last lap, because beginning to drop away, doesn't have the ERS advantage on anyone in this battle. Luke Davies even has that slight amount more which he used to gain back on these guys. As we head now on to the last lap, McClements from Rosenberg, from Marriott, from Davies, but McClements with the 13-second penalty hanging over his head. Will we see Rosenberg risk anything to win it on track, as well as the timesheets? He's got the DRS open this time, and he's going to stay behind McClements. There's a bit of rain in the air. Vesta's out. There's a crash there at the exit of turn 3, but that won't cause anything. Slight spin for McClements as the rain is in the air, throwing something else up into the mix. He was nearly forced into a proper spin by Legend, who has got front wing damage from that. McClements with yet another send. Reminiscent of what we saw earlier in the race. He doesn't want to give this one up just yet. Legend Rosenberg is at risk now, and he's been involved in another bit of contact between the two. Legend holds on to it though. I thought he might lose the car. McClements did, recovers it quickly. P4 is where he's going to stand at the end of this on track anyways. Nathan Marriott is in P2. Contact drama and a bit of rain at the end. But Legend Rosenberg, by the end of it, is going to have a 15-point advantage at the lead of the championship. He wins the Austrian Grand Prix. Nathan Marriott stands on the podium for the second time this season. Luke Davies in P3. Kandolga 4th, Birch 5th, Rochford in 6th. Discern in 7th. McClements, with his penalty, will push him further down because Bobune will take 8th across the line. McClements will be 9th, and Bas van Zijt will pick up the last point off the race. Adrian Taichi to round us out for P11, the last of the finishers and the only one without a point to do so. Well, the race picked up at the end. He had an almighty start. The safety car petered it out a little bit as the tactics got good, but the last lap certainly gave us everything. McClement gave it everything. Nathan Marriott recovering a P2. Every time I've commentated on him, he's picked up a podium, which is twice. And if you had a nickel for each time that happened, you'd have 2, but it's weird that it happened twice. But Legend can hold that trophy aloft proudly above his head, because 15 points to the lead, if my maths is correct, and that will give him a very strong position in the championship picture, when before this race Avesta could have sealed the championship. But instead of that, it will be a resurgence drive from Avesta if he's to win it in Abu Dhabi. And we know Legend's consistency. It'll be a good watch though, this time next week. But yeah, Ferrari scoring good points as well. 24 going their way to Red Bull's 10. So that probably closes the advantage as well at the lead of the team standings. It does now, I think, take Alpine out. No, I think Alpine's still in the championship picture as well, potentially. But it all tightens up there as well. Nothing has been won. It's all on the table. Legend won the championship this time last season at this track. Well, Avesta couldn't repeat that, and now Legend may be able to win it at the very next round, the final round, the season finale of season 13 in Abu Dhabi. We will see you then this time next week. Hope you enjoyed the race.